There's just something beautiful about how Rachel Reid has created these two main characters in a healthy masculine form. Like, we really have to applaud that in today's society because, as we know, not all men, but most definitely always a man. On top of that, we have our director, screenwriter, Jacob Tierney, who has just transformed the book from something that already had a lot of substance. And I say this because, again, Rachel Reid, the woman that you are, you wrote this, you know, to kind of have a safe space to write about your fantasies, and girl, we get it. AO3, Wattpad, I've been there. The first book, they had me in the first half with all the sex. In the second half, I was like, oh my god, I'm being taken on an emotional journey, and we are growing from boy to man. So Jacob took that adaptation, brought it to screen faithfully, and then built on the notions of masculinity and gender roles so greatly that there's just a lot to discuss. Okay, like, grab your ginger ale, grab your Coke, bring out that good vodka, and let's look at how this show pulled off a masterclass in healthy masculinity. Ooh, I have no idea if that's the kind of ASMR that people want to hear. First, I just want to say that the setup, which is a professional athlete's world, the boy aquarium, if you will, we have been gifted a habitat where we can observe the male, the masculine. If you hear anything, that's my dog, by the way. Oh, so he wants to join. Yeah, settle in, baby. Because there's something to note about the society we live in today, okay? We have celebrities, and then we have male athletes who are basically pseudo-celebrities. They are treated the same. They are praised, they are looked up to, they become role models at the same time that they are scrutinized for literally everything they do. They can be demonized, they can be turned on, they can be traded, moved, sexualized, all of it. So really, when you sign up to become a professional athlete, you're not just signing up for the love of the game. You're signing up to be watched for life. They want to know everything about you. They want to know what food you're taking, what vitamins are you doing, what's your 42-step skincare routine, because these things matter. Your body is your commodity. If you can't show up to a game and perform, suddenly you're not as valuable. That's the kind of male masculine energy that it takes to be a professional athlete these days. And I can speak from experience, having dated a professional athlete myself. That shit is not for the weak. If you struggle with pressure and body image issues and self-confidence, this can be the kind of place where you don't feel safe and you constantly feel the need to mask up. We have these two characters who are the top picks for the NHL draft when they are literally 18 years old. Can you imagine the amount of pressure that is not only on them from the outside looking in, but internalized pressure that they carry themselves? For Shane, representation really matters. I mean, if we're not even taking into context the fact that he does have a touch of autism, he also has to take care to notice how he's one of the only people being launched this far into the spotlight that looks the way that he looks. So that's a pressure that's on him from the outside. His mom is a momager, okay? She is taking it upon herself to secure the brand deals, to get it going. She's like, we do this, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, okay? That's like Shohei Ohtani's mom. Do you know how she runs that empire? Ohtani's face is everywhere. That's literally Shane Hollander AF. And then on Russia's side, he's got the pressure of a whole country because everyone's looking at him. So the pressures that they also put on themselves. For Ilya, it's that he has to provide. And for Shane, it's that he has to be the best. This is also a male-on-male relationship. And what do we see a lot of times in the boy aquarium, in the professional athlete world? There's so much internalized homophobia because even if they're not outwardly talking about it so much and there's not the same kind of incidents that probably happened 20, 30 years ago, I promise you that it is still very much a silent subject that hangs in the locker room. And when it is addressed, it's addressed in the form of teasing or questioning or some bombastic side eyes. Literally anything other than the macho, strong man could be seen as very effeminate and low-key. In this environment, you have to present yourself as a very masculine man. And that's the perfect setup to explore masculinity. And we kind of see how both Shane and Ilya take this to heart with their individual experiences. This is something that Jacob Tierney does amazingly. He has written them to be men way more fleshed out than I think even Rachel initially wrote them out to be. That's because Jacob's coming from this experience of knowing that you're bringing these humans to life. You don't want to have a bunch of expositional dumps. So what do you do instead? You have to show us what their experiences have looked like without having to give us 110 flashbacks to see how those formative experiences has molded them into who they are today. And we have Ilya, who comes from Russia. That's the epitome of toxic masculinity. We see it represented in his role within the family, his role within the country, his role within his team. He is constantly put into a position where he has to play it off the way we see him at the very beginning of the show. A sly, smirking little F-boy, okay? He knows what he wants and he's gonna get it. Let's look at it. He's the top pick for the NHL, coming from Russia. He's team captain of the Boston Raiders, and he comes from a very well-off family in Russia. But what's the truth? Can he really be open and show emotion? Or has he been taught his entire life to suck it up and be a man? Exactly. In Russia, the man is the provider. And there's no other excuse. What do you mean you cry? That's not really a thing. I had a Ukrainian friend tell me that it was very stereotypical Russian man, but I kind of love the fact that they leaned into it and showed us scenes with Ilya interacting with his family, because it shows how important it is for him to keep up that appearance and how exhausting it is to continue with that over the years. If he loses, that's not only a problem for him and his team, it's a problem for his visa. If he gets traded out, can he stay in the United States, or does he have to go back to Russia? If he goes back to Russia, who does he face? His dad, and his dad's endless disappointment in him. What else does it remind him of? His mother, and how he lost her really young. So everything becomes this persona that he has to keep, and everyone has to be kept a certain distance away from him, because A, he doesn't want to lose people like he's lost his mom. B, he doesn't want to be seen as weak. He knows that he has to keep up the appearance of strength. And C, he knows that he is a provider. So adding more quote unquote mouths to feed in that sense, a lot of times, like when you're already doing it for people that drain you, you don't have enough energy in your cup to really love somebody else. And then there's the fact that Ilya has come to see himself as almost like a lazy human, because that's what his father has instilled in him, that he is lazy because he's not always winning, that he is lazy because he's not happy with the position that he's been granted. But it's a lot of things that no 18 to 19-year-old should have to deal with. At that time, you're still a boy, you're still a kid. And he hasn't had time to grow into that, yet he's been kind of forced into this role over the years, be it from losing his mom, having to take care of his older brother because his older brother's an addict, having to take care of his dad because the stepmom ain't gonna do shit, she's just there for the money. The brother is an addict, so when the dad gets sick, who's in charge? He has to make sure everything's okay, and he doesn't even live within the same time zone. So that's the individual experience that has shaped Ilya into the man that we see at the very beginning of the series. And on the flip side of that, we have Shane, who's got a lot going on in that brain. Well, we say a lot, but there's also not a lot going on in that brain. He's 3 apples tall. The touch of autism just brings a personality that has been based in rigidness. I talked to my sister and my friends about this, that Shane can only view the world in the context of hockey. That is his organizational mind map of things. You can say that that's because of the autism, you can say that that's because of his OCD personality, but either way, like, he's learned to contextualize everything in the world of hockey. His mom has noted this from a very young age and kind of capitalized on that, because she understands that that's a language that her son understands. That's literally like him being a savant in the sense of the hockey world. So when you view everything in terms of hockey, it does provide a lot of organization, but it also leaves you kind of at a miss with relationships. And something that the book writes into Shane's character that we don't really see as much in the TV show is that Shane, from the get-go, has already kind of started to notice that his relationships haven't really been fulfilling, in the sense that he doesn't really get what's going on there. He doesn't get why he doesn't care about them. He had a girlfriend the year that he was going into the NHL draft, and he was kind of like, she's not here, I don't care, we probably have to break up. because we're not really compatible, if you know what I'm saying. So from Shane's point of view, his individual experiences have kind of put him where he can only see the world from that professional athletic point of view. He doesn't really have anything else that's pushing him into more self-discovery or manhood even. He's entering the adult world, going to Montreal, and he's just now being put into positions where he has to make decisions for himself. And what is the first decision he makes for himself? Getting on Ilya's. I'm kidding, guys. So now that we have the setup, we have the context of their individual experiences, what are the 3 elements specifically that I think Heated Rivalry excels at bringing real men? 1, how it portrays their inner worlds through the screen. I think that's phenomenal. 2, we have the concept of yearning. It's been a long minute since I've seen yearning to this degree, like literally diabolical levels of yearning in this TV show. And element 3 would probably be the element of growth. The TV series and the book takes place over the course of 2008 to 2017. That's 9 years.
What, you can't do math?
To grow into yourself, from being little bitty boys to men who have way more agency and ability to communicate with each other, choose themselves, and the love that they have for each other. I think that's beautiful because a lot of times we get love stories that conclude in 3 days. Tell me why somebody's falling in love in 3 days and that's it. Is that realistic? Because I'm 24 and I have not experienced that, guys. Because what is that? There's these 3 elements. Let's just hop right into it. When we look at the way the book and the TV show has portrayed the inner worlds of Ilya and Shane, it's done something very specific, which is showing how they grapple with the feelings of attraction, respect, and admiration, while also simultaneously dealing with this competitiveness that exists on the outside. And that causes both frustration for the attraction, for themselves as well, and feelings of inadequacy almost. This rivalry is honestly way more pronounced in the book than in the TV show. I think in the TV show, there's just not enough time for us to look at how angry they are at the situation. But in the book, we get the monologues that show us what's going on inside their brain. For Shane specifically, he's like, I want to be the best. I want to be the best. He's the one that like makes me strive to be the best because he's the only one who's on my level. It's giving Satosugu. But at the same time, I feel attracted to this man. Why do I feel attracted to this man? Why is it a man? Why does it have to be him? Oh my God, I hate that I'm turned on so easily by this guy and I don't understand my feelings for it. I know that I shouldn't have these feelings and I'm going to try my best to get rid of this. Ilya, it's the same. He's like, I know that I like men, but I cannot like men. Why? Because of his individual experiences, because of the context of how he grew up. He knows he does not have the freedom to love the way that he truly wants to love, and he can't have what he wants. So he's already internalized this. He looks at this, he's frustrated because he thinks this is a one-off hookup. Baby, no. Ilya fell in love from day one, and now he has to deal with that. And the entire book is just Ilya consistently going, this is the last time. If I just fuck him one more time, I will get him out of my system. Like, let me just until I don't want to do it anymore. But then halfway through, he's like, why is it that every time we, I kind of want to do it more? So yeah, it's kind of a really interesting way of looking into their boy psychology. They're not ready to confront how they feel. They're not ready to be men about it. However, I want to bring in the idea of masculine rituals. I saw in another analysis video done by Schnee talking about the importance of masculine rituals because they are so simple that they create minimal confusion and almost zero demand to be vulnerable. Those are Schnee's words, not mine, but I do think that this applies in general. I've been reading this book on male psychology called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, and it essentially said the same thing about going from boy to man and saying that in order to become a man, you have to go through specific rituals that bring you into man psychology. For Shane and Ilya, they only have one safe space where they can let go of all those outward pressures and truly let their inner world become their outer world, and that is in the hotel rooms in which they hook up. That is their masculine ritual. When they are together in that room, they can fully be themselves and let go, and it's a sense of release for both of them. The fact that they can take so much time with the caresses, with the sex, is kind of like akin to that, like minimal confusion, zero demand for vulnerability. At least that's how it clicks in their head at the beginning, because they know that they can only do this a few times per season. Let's say that you're hooking up with the same person about 6 times a year, and you know exactly how it's going to go down every time. It's very streamlined. You get in, scratch your itch, and get out. Back to hockey. What happens is, over the years, we add in the new element. The element of yearning. And this is where it gets super interesting, okay? I'm gonna mention some context from the book that's gonna add a little bit more meaning. Specifically for the Las Vegas scene, we see this scene and it's really hot, it's really steamy. We also kind of see the fallout on Shane's side of things. By this point in time, he's already done for, he's cooked, he knows that he is feeling a little bit more for Ilya than perhaps Ilya is feeling for him. We saw this both backstage when he's confronting Ilya about not texting him since the Russian Olympics, which let's talk about that in a second, but also there's the we didn't even kiss scene. We don't know, other than Ilya's kind of blank stare into oblivion, is how he's felt about it this entire time. Rachel Reid later released a POV of Las Vegas from Ilya, where it was revealed that the reason, like it was very deliberate that he didn't kiss Shane that night. He brought himself to almost do something in that bathroom at the award ceremony because he couldn't help himself. And the moment he realized that, he was like, I literally cannot kiss him tonight, because it will mean accepting that I never want to let this man go. Quite literally, that is his thought process, and it's because of what happened at the Olympics. You see, Shane goes to the Olympics, and like I said, those social cues, it's gone. He gets to the Olympics and he is suddenly made aware of the fact that Russia is very homophobic, it's dangerous, and in general this country is very, very, very conservative. He only understands this now because he's traveled there in the context of hockey and somebody is talking to him about the queer experience being brave. So what does he do? He texts Ilya because now he's been made aware of something and he's like, well, I want to check in. Ilya, on the other hand, is not used to this. Why? Because it's disrupting the ritual that they've had. He ignores the text. But what happens when Shane makes the decision to literally go up to Ilya? They are from rival teams, rival countries, totally different backgrounds, and nobody knows that they have been hooking up. And he still makes the effort to go up there to ask Ilya how he's doing, and Ilya is taken aback by this because this is yet another display of how far Shane is willing to go for him. He's used to it in the bedroom, he's not used to it in real life. In the point of view that Rachel Reid wrote, Ilya literally goes, oh my god, I want to tell him everything. Like, I want to break down right here, right now, and tell him how difficult it has been, how much of myself I have to consistently hide, but he can't because he's in his home country right now. He's in the abusive environment that he cannot escape, so he doesn't. He pushes him away. And Las Vegas, he is also pushing him away as much as he can. But the moment that Shane leaves, he's thinking, I'm already pretty invested in this guy. After 2014, we head into the 2015 season, and this is where things get really interesting. In the book, it mentions that they're no longer hooking up in hotels, they're hooking up in Ilya's house. So this is Ilya's first step to letting Shane back in. It's very subtle. He just starts saying, let's go to my house instead of the hotel because it costs less money, it's a lot more discreet, like it's fine. Shane says yes, even though he's a little bit like on edge about it, but nothing has really done what the kissing would have done for Ilya in Vegas yet. Like for Shane, he's under the impression of like, I have these weird feelings for this guy, but like nothing will ever come of it, and this is so frustrating, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, hockey. Anyways, All-Star game. Anyways, Stanley Cup. The tuna melt is what changes everything. That is the ultimate symbol for yearning, okay? This is something that totally takes both of them off guard. I mean, for Ilya, it's completely planned. This is now 2016. He's come to terms with the fact that he loves this man. He has yearned for this man for years. He has accepted that he's yearned for him for years. Now he's ready to make a move because he is truly a romantic, and men in their hearts should be romantics. A man who is fully comfortable with himself and accepting of himself will be a lover boy. That is part of the human experience. I will stand by that. The lover lives inside you. It depends on how deep it's been buried down or even strangled and killed. Ilya is actually very soft with the people he loves, and we've seen it even in the bedroom where he's consistently checking in, making sure there's consent. He has caresses, he kisses with substance, but now he's doing it outwardly, outside the bedroom, post-coital activities. He is offering food. Is the ultimate symbol of love. Okay, so it turns out the rest of my footage from this day got corrupted, so I'm not able to touch on how growth into manhood is depicted in Heated Rivalry. I have since re-recorded and I will be uploading next week, so watch for that. However, I wish to leave you with a final comment. In a world where they've had to control for various risk factors such as family, coming out, losing visas, losing sponsorships, and even destroying their careers, Shane and Ilya managed to build a safe space in each other. Men in today's society often ask themselves why they are left without a girlfriend, a wife, a healthy circle of friends. Perhaps in the patriarchy's quest for dominance, we have allowed men to believe they are fundamentally wired to connect differently. They aren't. Men can think, experience, and make mistakes, all while learning to grow into themselves, loving each other, and showing up for those who matter. In a world full of performative behavior, Shane and Ilya show us that yearning is a romantic act, both selfish and selfless, devastatingly vulnerable, and hopefully trusting at the same time.